Hi there and welcome back to Japan. I'm not going to do too much waffling because you already know what this is, but I'm going to dive straight into this just after I give you a quick introduction and say that, this is a band who I've seen like little bits of them on television, but I've never really heard them properly. And I'm really excited about this one because, as many of you know, though obviously I like the rock music and the pop music, I'm also a big fan of traditional Japanese music. And especially the instruments, I think they have a lot more room to be put into modern music because of the sort of sharp and dynamic sounds in traditional Japanese instruments. So I often feel that's a very untapped piece of potential, and I really enjoyed the band Maiko song that I heard that you guys pointed out was supposed to be a joke, but I thought was actually a very effective song. So I'm looking forward to hearing this. This is a band who, this is their whole thing, so let's see what we get. Very cool. Let's give it some volume.
Senbon Sakura, yoru ni magire, kimi no koe mo todoka nai yo.
I love it already.
Haruka kanata, sono kousen juu de uchinuite.
Ah, fantastic. So there you got a shakuhachi, shamisen koto, the whole lot. I like how her singing starts somewhere between like the rock sound and like a traditional, I'm not going to say enka, but you know, that kind of feeling of traditional Japanese style singing.
百戦錬磨の見た目は証拠を行ったり来たりの多いな道中あいつもこいつもみんなで集まる戦車行進ワンツー三四戦場門をくぐり抜けて安楽城を役払いきっと最後は大団円拍手の合間に千本桜夜に紛れ君の声も届かないよここは宴鋼の檻その担当台で見下ろして三千世界どこよの闇嘆く歌も聞こえないよ希望の丘遥か彼方その閃光弾を打ち上げよ
You can't beat that sound. Or maybe you can. It's so cool. I'm just gonna say that, it's so cool. Eurovision style key change. What else could there be left in the bag of tricks? that has made my day. I'd even say that's virtually made this entire channel worth doing. That's brilliant. I loved it. I thought that was fantastic. Everything about it. For a start, I mean, obviously, like I say, it was always going to be something I was biased towards. I'll start, actually, before I go into the music, I'll start with the video by saying that the video, again, some might point out that had a lot of the tropes that I usually state are painting by numbers, Japanese-style video creation, and that is true. But in a way, it was very efficient at what it did, and it benefited from having the whole sort of traditional Japanese style. I know it's a bit stereotypical, but at the same time, it kind of works. I was thinking there's something about the traditional Japanese style, the visual aesthetic of how things are done, that looks so nice. Because when you compare it to a lot of like Western style things, like English style classical architecture, everything's got a lot of browns and greys and blacks, and I think there's this sort of sober classiness to it. Whereas with Japanese traditional imagery, it's just what looks beautiful. It's so colourful, it's amazing. So putting it in a music video, even if it's a bit stereotypical, does kind of work. And I found this also with the band Maiko video. Similar thing. I mean, the videos were virtually interchangeable, but they both work just because they trade on such a obviously visually nice thing anyway. But let's move on to the song, because I've got to get to the song. Everything about that was brilliant. I love the way that the rock music elements, sometimes when you've got like a lead guitarist in the band, as they clearly do, that's pushed too far forwards, or the feeling is that, okay, it's got to be rock because, rock and metal is where, and hard rock is where the fans are, and we'll just sort of throw the other elements in to give it something different. This didn't feel like it at all. I mean, obviously the song was a rock song. It was fast, it was charging, it had all of those sorts of elements and that style. But, I felt that it was written to that goal, but all of the instruments were not just tacked in, they were in there. It was like they've managed to make a very individual, like, subgenre of rock. And I know there are other bands who do this and other versions of this sort of thing, but it just worked so well there. Everything had its place and worked fantastically. I especially was really impressed, like I said at the time, they had the shakuhachi, the flute, they had the koto, which is the big instrument with the many strings, and the shamisen, which is like the free string sort of banjo type instrument. Because I'm a big fan of Japanese traditional music, I mean, I personally can play the koto and the shamisen, but not the shakuhachi, too difficult for me. And so for me, I just love those sounds, and it was really beautiful to hear them played well. Again, this is the thing, it was done with a fantastic awareness of how those sounds should be, even if they were in a sort of context of a more poppy, radio-friendly rock song. The instruments were played in a way that just to me sounded like, these are people who really understand the instruments and understand how to use them. There was a lot of love for the traditional Japanese instruments in there, and at the same time it rocked along fantastically. All of the individual instrumentalists were brilliant. The sounds all worked. Every second you thought that, that's as good as it can get. Something new came in, all the way up to them having a Eurovision style, as I said, I think it was 2 semitones up key changes you have to do in the last chorus to add the drama. There's little I can say, because I'm usually quite critical. I can't pick anything bad about that. Even the hook was pretty damn catchy. Could it have been more catchy? Yes, but I guess you could say that of anything that isn't Despacito. And that's not exactly the greatest song in the world, however catchy it is. So, okay, it could have been more catchy, but it's damn well as catchy as it could have been asked to be. Just everything about it was brilliant. This is honestly the first song I think I've come across where I just cannot pick a hole in it. Here's the interesting thing, though. Have I started my listening experience with them hitting too much of a high note? Because, like I say, that played every trick in the bag. They played every trick in the bag, and so I do wonder, where is there left to go? I mean, if all of their songs kind of sound and work to that method, then, I'm not going to complain. I think they've already won me over as a fan already. But do they have much variation? Do they have some slower songs that work on the same writing ethic? How do they vary with their rest of the material? So if you're a fan, certainly if you know about this band, I would be very interested to hear more of them, definitely. And certainly try and find some other stuff that varies from this song, because I want to see how much variation they can really achieve. Anyway, that said, like I say, I haven't really got much to say about this one, except for just pointing out all the compliments of why it's fantastic. So, until next time, then you want to join me in the... Sorry, I keep on clapping. Until next time when you want to join me in Japan, ciao ciao for now. That was a fantastic song.